Hello, I'm State Representative Al Landis from the 98th House District. Welcome to Ohio in Focus.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Ohio in Focus, a program that brings state government to you. I'm your host, Brad Miller. I'm speaking today with State Representative Al Landis, who serves the 98th House District, which includes Tuscarawas County and a portion of Holmes County. Representative, good to see you again.
Thank you, Brad, for the opportunity to be here.
We'll touch on a number of subjects today. We'll start with a bill that you have joint sponsored, House Bill 402, which would require the tax commissioner to notify taxpayers of overpayment. And in describing the bill a while back, you said, if you overpaid your taxes, why should the government keep that money? The short answer is it shouldn't, which probably makes sense to a lot of people. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the bill?
Well, Brad, it's a very good bill, and I'm honored to be joint sponsored with Representative Duffy and working with Tax Commissioner Joe Testa. But I was absolutely amazed, coming out of the private sector, having been in the steel industry a number of years before running for the House, that a company would prepay their taxes, their projections, and then find out that they had overpaid the amount, and it was up to them to have discovery, that they had to discover that they overpaid it, and then they had to make a request to the tax commission to get the refund. And that was just something that this is the 21st century. Modern business practices have been around for a long time. And I think that the state was lagging by not bringing that up to speed.
So in the past, people could get an overpayment refunded to them, but it was on them to do it, and this bill would change that.
Precisely. Again, it was based on discovery of the company, their accounting, that, hey, we've overpaid our taxes, at the state level. Then they had to do the paperwork to file the request to get it back. And I'm guessing that in some cases they did, maybe in some cases they didn't get the refund that was deserved.
So this will certainly impact businesses throughout Ohio. How do you see it playing out in your district?
I see it playing out because, Ohio is made up of small businesses. And there's a fine line between profitability and closing the doors. When you have this money returning to them, it's an opportunity to, number one, keep the staff level maybe at the current rate, possibility of maybe even expanding in some cases if there's enough of a refund coming back. So I think it's something that is certainly going to help send money back to the small businesses, invest in their business and their employees. So I think it's a win-win.
Another bill that you have joint sponsored with Representative Doug Green of Southwest Ohio would institute a training program for motorcyclists. As a person with motorcycling experience, what can you tell us about this bill?
I think it's a very good bill. It's an overdue bill, and a lot of the motorcycle runs that they do are for charity, and in some cases they're even escorting fallen American heroes home. And I had the opportunity to escort a fallen hero home about 2 years ago, and when you have a number of motorcyclists riding together, we were going to Akron-Canton Airport. We were going to be coming back 35 miles on Interstate 77. The procession was 5 miles long of motorcycles. And what this bill is going to do is help protect the motoring public, that not only the motorcycles, but also the drivers that are trying to enter during one of these possible charity runs, or where the case is you're escorting a hero back. And what the bill will do, it's going to train riders to act as guards at intersections, whether it be an intersection in a city or whether it be an on-ramp on an interstate. And we're very blessed to have police, fire, sheriff, state patrol, help us in those situations. But sometimes when you get out into the rural areas, you don't have as many people available to help guard the safety of not only the drivers coming onto the road, but also the motorcyclists involved in the run.
So this can free up resources both in personnel and costs for local government.
That's exactly right. Coming through the city of Canton, again, we had Canton Fire Department, other fire departments involved. We had city police, we had sheriff that were helping us to get through the number of exits and entrances in the city of Canton. And you're traveling at a high rate of speed, or a high, like a highway speed. And if you have somebody coming onto the interstate, and all of a sudden they're faced with a column of motorcyclists, sometimes it can be a bad situation, especially if you have a distracted driver, somebody that might be talking on a cell phone or talking to a passenger. And what we're trying to do is protect the entire motoring public.
So it's not just obviously everyone can relate to how dangerous a motorcycle would be. Just two wheels on the road, not much protection, but can also help the drivers in four-wheel vehicles as well.
That's exactly right. And going back to the cost associated with it, some of the charity rides are fundraisers. I had the opportunity to ride in one last fall for Rebuilding America's Warriors with the Keith Knepp's Memorial Ride. And that does not attract the same number of riders. And you certainly, you can't call on the local officials to provide the safety net that's needed when you're going through a town or on the interstate.
Moving on to another bill is House Bill 393. You're joint sponsoring with Representative Nan Baker of Cuyahoga County. Will help students kind of decide or move them along the path of deciding what they might want to do with their lives, which can be a daunting problem for a lot of young students. What does this bill do?
I'm excited to be part of this bill. I really enjoy working with Representative Baker, and when she approached me about being the joint sponsor, this is something as a parent and as a grandparent that I can really relate to when it comes to planning for one's future. And one of the things that maybe on the subsurface, the United States has just surpassed it with the debt. Previously, credit card debt was the largest debt. Student loans and the default on student loans now exceeds credit card debt. If a parent and a student knows going in to the college years or after high school years, what is the career? How much does that career pay when the student graduates? What can they expect in return? And what is the cost of getting to that point? So I think it's a win-win. The parent and the student are going in with their eyes wide open. They know what the potential pay is. They know how much it's going to cost to get there. And there's a potential now to maybe eliminate some of that student debt, some of that overpayment, overdraft.
So it would require high schools to publish a career decision guide, it would be called. If you're a student sitting at your desk in class, what do you see? What does this guide do for you?
Well, there's a couple of ways of working with it. We're asking that they go out, once a year in their newsletter that goes out to their entire school district. We're also going to make available that you can go to the website, and you can go on there 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And what we hope to do is, start out with juniors, sophomores and juniors looking at it, but eventually drive that down to where it's so user-friendly that, possibly as early as middle school, that we have parents and students going on there and looking to see what careers are available. What type of pay? What can I expect to make when I come out and I'm a TV announcer or a state representative? And how much does it cost to get there? So it's really an eyes wide open thing, and I think it's going to be benefit to the students.
So this will be increasing competition on me.
Precisely.
So obviously a student can match his or her interests. I mean, at a younger age, they might not know exactly what they want to do, but they know what they're interested in, and this will help kind of funnel and show them opportunities that's available.
That's exactly right, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a four-year college degree. In my district, the 98th district, which includes all of Tuscarawas County and part of Holmes County, we have a little thing going on called the Shale Play. Well, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for not only the state of Ohio, but for our district. And to be able to show students at an earlier age, here's the opportunities that are involved in the oil and gas production, or here's the opportunities that are available that are downstream in the refining of this product. That they don't necessarily have to go to Houston anymore, or they don't have to go to North Dakota, we can give you the training here in Ohio. We can give you the opportunity for the job in Ohio, and I think that's certainly a win-win for our state. You know, it prevents that brain drain. And you know, a young man or a young woman that wants to go into welding, they can see, well, here's what the average pay is for a welder that's involved in a gas pipeline, or here is how much a petroleum engineer makes, and it sure gives them again an eye-opening experience.
The final bill we'll talk about today, your joint sponsoring with Representative Blessing of Hamilton County, would be of interest to architects, engineers, surveyors, et cetera. What should we know about this bill?
This bill, in working with Representative Blessing, who's a very bright young man, it's the first time I've had the opportunity to work with him. What it does, it's going to allow people to step up in declared emergencies. And you know, we've seen natural disasters down in other states, you know, like Katrina down in the Gulf. We don't want somebody that has the skills, the abilities to help in a situation like that, to have a fear that if I step in, I could lose my professional license, I could lose my career, I could lose some value, you know, my home if there's a lawsuit or something like that. What this bill is going to do is going to help architects and engineers and surveyors and allow them to go into a declared situation. And God forbid, I mean, you know, whether it be a tornado here in Ohio, and unfortunately in the times that we live in, an act of terrorism, where they can go in and they can help secure a building, they can help secure a site using their level of professionalism that you know, maybe the average person standing there doesn't have. Maybe they can help direct in a rescue operation, or they can help secure a building without reprisal or fear of losing their license.
So it will help move those resources to an area where it's needed, and they will not face punishment.
Precisely. And it was in testimony in the committee, we had a young lady come in who's a professional architect, that 5,000 people were brought into Louisiana to look at the restoration of historic buildings. And when I asked her the question, I said, if there was fear of professional reprisals, of losing your license, would you make that trip to another state if they didn't have this protection? And she said the answer should be no, that it should not get in the way, but she goes, it does. So I think that Ohio, will certainly help volunteerism in these type of situations where we're getting the right people that are going to help, instead of being a fear of being on the sidelines.
We have a minute or two left. At the closing of the program, we have our guest talk to their constituents about the best way that they can contact you here in Columbus.
The best way to contact me here in Columbus is they can call my office at 614-466-8035, or they can email me at rep98@ohiohouse.gov. And it's appreciated to be contacted in Ohio or here in Columbus, but I really like being contacted in the district. And I encourage people. I'm a very open person. I'm very approachable. If you see me out and about in the district, come up and introduce yourself. Let me know who you are. Let me know what your concerns are, because my goal is to be the best representative that I can be for my constituents in Columbus, and take that information back to them and let them know what's going on in Columbus.
Representative, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for taking some time with us today.
My pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of Ohio in Focus, a program that brings state government to you. Thanks for watching.